I'm just going to do my best to share. Sorry, I'm so sorry. Okay. All right, so I better start tapping. All right, so okay. From the middle or 2023 to 2024, February 2024, I have been on a journey of seeing every doctor I could find, naturopaths, kinesiologists, anyone that could help, because I knew something was wrong. And the reason why I knew was because I was so tired, but I had used the excuse of I'm a mum, I'm busy, we're waking up in the middle of the night, and it just got so extreme that it couldn't be that. I couldn't ignore it anymore. It got to the point where I was actually coaching myself out of bed, and that I knew was not right. So my results and said, yes, I'll change it from ankle to thyroid, but we've missed the inflamed in the. And she said, Bianca, I would much rather do this in person. And I just froze. And she said, you have abnormal cells. And just be available. So that were my thoughts. Of course, I sprung my family. My family came part of a. I decided to dive in at that point and share everything. I announced on social media that I had cancer, and there was self-doubt. Why did people even care? Or am I going to trigger people? And what happened was I connected with people all over the world. Your tumours were actually reduced in size. They were smaller than what we had originally measured. And I just in my head, I was like, thank you, water. And everything else that I had done, because we have the absolute power of what we put in. It's obviously going to affect us. And my tumours had reduced. So could you imagine if I didn't have surgery and I just, that was where my head went. I wish I could have just stuck at that. But anyway, it had spread, and that was not my story. I couldn't have it in my lymph nodes. So I've had 22 lymph nodes removed from the left side. And because I have had so many lymph nodes removed, I see what are they called? I go for lymphatic drainage massages. Oh, I just went blank, even with my notes. And so this lady that I see once a month, she too has said to me, the last time I saw her, she said, yeah, can you remind me when you had your surgery? And I said, I had it in April. And she said, April 22 or 23? And I said, no, 24. And she looked at me and she was like, in all the years that I've done this, not once have I ever seen anyone come out of the surgery that you've just had and have zero effect on their lymphatic drainage system. My lymphatic drainage system is working optimal, like as if I haven't lost 22 of them. So, and that's really unheard of. And so from her point of view, I never knew that. She asked me, what do you do? And I said, well, look, I try and look after myself. I eat well and I drink the best water in the world. And she said, what water in the world? And I told her a little bit about our water. And she said, if it has any anti-inflammatory component, then that is exactly why your lymphatic system is working at its best. She said that. And I was like, well, okay, thank you. I'll just keep doing what I'm doing. And would you like a machine? Anyway, so she's looking at a machine. But that's not the point. So anyway, where was I? So then after this, I had treatment. So I had radioactive iodine treatment. And really hope I'm not boring everyone here, but I had radioactive iodine treatment. Now, what that meant was that I was isolated in a hospital so in the first 22 hours, I drank 4 litres of water and I stayed there for 4 days. I was able to leave. I had to go isolate in an Airbnb because I couldn't be near children for another 5 days. And every day I drank 3 litres of water, minimum. 3 litres of the 9.5 water at a minimum. And then a week later, I ended up back at the hospital for routine CT scans for about 3.5 hours. And I got out of there and they turned around and they said, what have you been doing? And I said, I've been resting at an Airbnb. And they said, you have no residual radioactive iodine in your throat at all. None. And we don't see that happen. And I said, okay, great. So I say water and they look at me and like, what? But I know we're not allowed to claim this, and I don't even know how we get to share this, so I haven't quite worked that out yet. But this is my life. This is literally happening, and there's just no coincidence that this keeps reoccurring and showing us the power of this water, for me anyway, and my family. So, yes. So where's my health at now? I am not cancer-free. I wish I was. A bit of a hole. People changed around me, and that's okay. But I knew whole social media. I've shown up. I've shown we've got you. This is fine. We've got this. And they gave me permission to really go deeper in my healing at that point, which I needed, and they could see and I couldn't. And I experienced the biggest month I've ever experienced in just under 2 years. For me, it was 13K in that month because of them. And that, I can't tell you, if people think it's expensive to invest in water, I can tell you firsthand that it's super expensive to be unwell. It is far more expensive to be unwell. This is cheap by comparison. So when my team brought that in for me, and obviously for themselves, that was another moment. I was like, this is exactly why we have team, we have community, and we have this particular model, because this is how it's going to support us moving forward. I just have so many confirmation. I will always continue to be grateful for the business.